Hey friends, welcome to Homeschool-ology. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Nikki. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4. In the upcoming school year, we will have an 8th grader, 4th grader, kindergartner, and preschooler. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing a new curriculum that I found, completely secular curriculum that I found with you guys, and it is layers of learning. So I will not be using the entire curriculum. It is one of the curriculums that is supposed to cover literally everything. It's supposed to be the only one that you need. I'm not using everything because we already have things that we love, but I am using bits and pieces because I did want to give them a try and see what it was all about. And they had curriculum that I didn't have things that I loved for. But today's video, I'm going to be focusing on the art beginnings because that is what I picked up. Now, I will say I did have things that I loved for art and things that we still use for art, but my oldest is getting a little bit older and I kind of needed something that was a little bit, you know, with what I had is more geared towards younger students, and so I wanted something that I could use with my older daughter as well. So it looked great and I wanted to try it out. It goes along, another reason why I chose it is because the art beginnings starts with some just art basics, but then the second half of it is art along history. And since we're doing this big history project, I really wanted to do art tied into history so that I knew we would get to it because that is our main focus for the next year. And so I wanted the activities built right into that, and it goes along with history. And so it's kind of like the history of art alongside the history of people, alongside the history of science. That's kind of what our plan is for next year. So I love making connections and learning, and so I thought that this layers of learning is what I love to do. It is building upon what you already know and making connections between different content areas. So let's look inside. So since I have this one mostly printed, I still have 2 more units to print. But as you can see, this is unit 1. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units all together. It does come with a guidebook on how to use it, and then this is something you pick up on your own. I think they have one that you can print out, but I'm just gonna get my kiddos a separate art journal to do this. How I'm going to bind this is what is our art supplies, art elementals, principles of design, all of that kind of goes together. And so I'm gonna bind these ones all together, and then I'm gonna bind prehistoric art. These also are kind of thicker sections. So I'm gonna put these all together, and then I'm gonna bind prehistoric art, early our civilizations, ancient art around the world, Greek and Roman, which are the last 2 that I have to print. I printed this one and my son dumped water all over the whole thing, so I have to reprint that one and print this one. But that's how I'm going to bind them. I'm going to bind them into 2 separate books. I just don't love having super thick teacher manuals, so I like to bind in smaller sections, and then I'm only using, only have what I need to look at in front of me. And so that is how I'm going to do that. So, but basically the structure of this, and I haven't bound it yet because I'm still working on printing it, but it gives you it gives you all of these things that have little smiley faces next to them are books. And the code is, this is for ages 6 to 9. Then you have a green, which is ages 10 to 13. And then you have a blue, which is ages 14 to 18. As you can see, this first one is for all ages. And then you have your younger ages and then your older ages. And so I think that is so fantastic to know where does this book fall, because this curriculum is meant for all ages to do family style, and so it tells you which ones are going to work for the age groups of children that you have. So basically here is the lesson title. This is the who it's going to work for. They use the same coding system, and then it tells you what you're going to do. So let me see if I can find one. And so this is a good one here. So here is who it's good for. Here's what you need, what you're going to learn, and then what you do. So I think that's really, really great. I love two things about this. Number one, it tells me exactly what I need, what we're going to learn, and what we're going to do. There's no guesswork for me. And number two, I love that it's also short and sweet. So it's not like this huge thing. What am I going to learn? It's literally one tiny little paragraph here. It's not even, because there's a picture, it's like a couple of sentences. It's very straight to the point. It tells me exactly what I need to do. But then over in the boxes on the outside here, it gives me extra information or extra activities I can do that will correlate with and go along with, the lesson. So I initially thought, hey, well, we'll do some of this and we'll review. I don't know that I'm going to cover a ton of this that's here. Oops, this was supposed to go in the other one. I also love that it's very, like across every top of the page, it tells you what unit is. So you're not getting confused on what's what and what goes where. I may cover the principles of design, because that's not something we necessarily covered in the past. So I may or may not do this, depending on if I feel like it fits into our schedule or not. But I know what I will definitely be using is this portion, which starts with the prehistoric art. Let me show you guys again. I will be using, so Unit 5 is prehistoric art, and I will be using everything beyond that, because I am tying this in with our history/science big deal that we're doing. I'll link a video for you guys that shares what that plan is. And so I know I will be using these parts. Am I using everything in here? No, I am not. What's kind of great about the Layers of Learning program is that it is designed for all ages, to do family style, and to be used for multiple years. So it is based on kind of like a 4-year loop, I think. I might put in a computer screen roll here, but they have it all broken down for you, what goes together and what you're going to use together. So while I'm only using the art and the writing, there is an entire, I think there's 4, if I remember correctly, I think there's 4 groups, and it all links together. It all works together. So you're not necessarily supposed to do every single activity in this book. You're supposed to save some of them for when you come back to this again in the future. So I'm not doing every activity that's in this book. First of all, we just don't have time for that. Second of all, some of them are, like, because of the age coding, some of them are, below what my oldest daughter is going to be interested in doing. And so I'll just save those for another time when I circle back to this, and she doesn't have to be involved in those things. But so I'm using the activities that correlate to whatever we're learning in our history/science thing. I keep touching the computer over here because that's where it's all at. So that is what we will be, I'm just pulling out 1 or 2. I think we're definitely doing this cave painting activity, because we are going to be learning about cave painting in our history program. So that, so here's an activity you can do, and then here's an exploration going a little bit further. So, but I do like that the pink boxes, here's something for a deeper thought. So this is something that you can do with your older kiddos to really kind of dive deeper into what you're doing in these, little fun art activities. So that is a look inside of the art portion from Layers of Learning. Okay, here is the Layers of Learning family style homeschool website. So if you can see here, we have a language or Layers of Learning overview. So what is Layers of Learning? It is a family style hands-on pick and choose program. So it is family style, meaning it covers preschool, probably more like kindergarten, but the youngest all the way up to high school. You're supposed to be able to use this program for all of it. And then it's hands-on, which my kids absolutely love. That's an important thing for us. And it's pick and choose. So I can decide what parts I want to do each year, which I love. I love that it's not only structured, but it also has flexibility. So for me, I want to be told what to do, but I also want the freedom to be able to decide when and how to do it. So this program, I feel like, from what I've seen so far, I feel like this is probably going to meet that goal for me. I have been going through and picking assignments to put into our history science curriculum that are not, it's not curriculum, it's I guess lesson plans. I'll link that video here. So I have been going through this and finding art activities to go along with that. And so I do see how this could be all of those things. What subjects are covered? So they cover history, geography, science, art, and language arts. And so the writer's workshop is that language arts piece of it. And so that's mainly focusing more on like writing, but it's writing in all these other content areas. And so the things that you're reading, you're writing about the things that you're reading and learning in all of these other content areas. What I really love is that the art, this is the section that I'm talking about today, is the art. It's art beginnings, which starts at, it has some art elements, and then it's ancient times, and then middle times, and then colonial America, or colonial times, I guess, and then modern art is coming out. This is a newer company, and so they're still working on getting that last level together. But since this is for everybody, it doesn't matter when you start this process. So you can start now at the beginning, and it's not going to be above or below any of your children. You pick and choose what works. So, but they kind of use like history as their spine to go along, and then they tie in all, geography and science and art into that. I think the best pair up for me is the history and the art. They really go hand in hand, and that's why I chose this program for our art, because it followed history so well, and that is our main focus for the upcoming year. So let's see, I wanted to show you guys down here at the bottom, units at a glance, and this is a PDF, so it's absolutely free. You do not have to purchase this. It is here for you, but it shows you all together the ancient history, peoples and planets, which is geography, earth and space, which is science, and art beginnings. All of those go together to make year one. So you can see that you're talking about the first civilizations, and there's a whole section down here, which you're supposed to do these all together, but to me it makes more sense that when we're doing ancients or first civilizations, we're talking about art and early civilizations. So they tie together really, really, really well. Then you have ancient Egypt, ancient China, the Bronze Age, the Iron Age, and ancient India. So that's all ancient art around the world. And then when you get into Greek and Roman, they have sections that correlate to all of those. So I love that this is really laid out in a very easy to follow manner, and it all ties together. So when you're talking about ancient Egypt, you're talking about Africa, and then how the earth is. So you're learning about how the continents became the continents and all of that. When you're talking about China, or ancient China, you're learning about Asia and geography, and then you're talking about things about how the earth was shaped. And then when you're talking about the Near East, you're talking about South America, which doesn't necessarily match up super well, but you gotta cover it. They can't all align. And then when you're talking about ancient Europe, you're learning about Europe. And so I think that is just such a great way to make the connections between all the different what would you call those, content areas. You're making those connections so they understand how one relates to the other. Where was ancient China? Well, it's in Asia, where China is today. Where was Mesopotamia? That's not still on the map. So you're talking about those places when you are talking about then in history, you're talking about where they are on the globe, which I think is so great. So when you're learning about Middle Times, it continues on in that same manner. You're learning about the, the same things in history, geography, and art along the way. And so I think that this is really great that it shows you like what goes together. Here you split year 4, you're focusing on world history and American history. So they kind of split geography and history into multiple categories, but you do them all at the same time. So while you're learning about modern history, you're also learning about American history. You're learning about those specific regions in geography as well. So as you continue on into modern history, you're learning about modern art, which I think is just a brilliant idea. So I think this is really wonderful to have this here, available so that you guys can see how these things all connect together. It's a reasonably priced program. So I bought the PDFs because I'm a PDF girl, and so I bought the PDFs. Let's see if we can find what I bought. So I bought the Art Beginnings PDF, and it is $44, and it comes with all the unit guides and a guide on how to teach this. So something you can read through to learn about. So the print is only $70, which I think isn't that unreasonable considering you're going to be using it year after year after year. Not year after year, I guess. This specific one you'd be using once every 4 years. But you're going to, you will use it at least twice, if not more than that. And so I think that that's a fair price for that. But you can also buy the units individually. So if you don't necessarily need all the like the principles of art and elements of art and all of that, and you just want to have the section on like Egypt and Mesopotamia and all that, then you could just buy that, which I think is great. I think that it's nice that they offer, this makes it, it's a little bit more expensive over time, but it's a less hit to your budget all at one time. So you could do, as you're doing the unit, you can buy them individually. So here's that student art journal that you can print. And it does have activities. So I can't remember if I bought this or not. And maybe now that I'm looking at them, maybe I do want it. We'll see. What this is if you buy the print copy, you can get the PDFs as well. So you can print I don't know if it's the PDFs of the whole thing, but it's the PDFs of the worksheets. So you can print them without having to, use a copier. So this is Layers of Learning. So again, we're only using the art piece and the writer's workshop, which I will have another video on sharing the writer's workshop with you guys. That is all we are using, but this is definitely something that I may, if I really do like this, it might be something that I pick up in the future, and use, especially like the history, science, maybe even the science, because it is secular and maybe it's something that we will enjoy. So maybe next year I look at buying more of these elements, but for this year I wanted to try it out. I wanted to see what it was all about, and see if it's something that I actually liked. So I think that's all I'm going to share with you guys today. I hope you found this helpful. I know this is a new company, so I was excited to try it out, and hopefully this will help you guys kind of see a look inside since they are new around. So far what I've seen, what I've been using, I'm liking. I like the structure is both informative but short and sweet. I like that I can pick and choose what's going to work for us, what assignments I want to do, without like throwing off our game if we skip something. And I love that it's cross-curricular. That is something that I think is really a great way to learn is cross-curricular, so you know how all these things connect together. And so I love that this program does that. So yeah, that's it. If you guys have questions, leave them down in the comments down below. Have you guys tried this out yet? If you have, I'd love to know what you think about it. I think that would be helpful to people since this is kind of newer. While you're down there, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel, ring that notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget, you can always follow us over on Instagram at Homeschool-ology. I hope you will come back and chat with me again soon. I'm definitely going to be doing a video on the writer's workshop, a separate video on that. So if you ring that notification bell, you'll see when that comes out. And I think that's it for me today. So come back and chat with me again soon. Bye. So I think that's it for me today. As I said, I will be sharing the writer's workshop with you guys, and